In this video, I'm gonna break down 3 reasons that most businesses aren't successful and how you can avoid them. When I got started in business 7 years ago, I had no idea what I was doing. Now, 7 years later, company has over 130 full-time W-2 domestic real-life human being employees as a part of our company. We're projecting to be around $50 million in annual recurring revenue. I come from a bankrupt family, so my only reference experience really was my family going under. Our business went under in 2008. So I had to literally create my own personal development plan from scratch. I had to go find mentors, books. I had to figure out this game called business so that I didn't end up like the statistics. And it wasn't easy. But in this video, I'm gonna break down the 3 biggest pitfalls that I see. But before I dive into number 1, let's first define what is business success. I believe a business is a commercial, profitable enterprise that works without the owner's involvement. That's what I believe a business is. So a successful business is almost like a separate entity. It's like a separate identity from the person who founded the business, right? It becomes its own organism that lives and breathes all by itself. So in my definition, your business is not successful if it does not operate without the owner's energy and time. Ultimately, a business should give the owner of the business what they want out of life. When we look at what we want out of our lives, more free time, the ability to go on vacation whenever we want without having to check in with anyone, bank account to be at X amount, these are life outcomes that we want. Our business should, in essence, work backwards from our own life outcomes, but then also the external outcomes that we want to create in the marketplace, like the impact we want to have on other people, the impact we want to have on an industry or a group of individuals that we want to serve. That is the intersection that is a business. But this number 1 pitfall that I'm going to go into first is what holds 99% of business owners back. Reason number 1 for business failure. You don't have a business, you have a personal services corporation. If you have a business that you wake up in the morning, you go and do some services for someone, and you get paid for those services, that is not a business. Society has hypnotized you to thinking that that's a business. It's not. That is a personal services corporation. Now, having a LLC or having your own corporate entity, while that may be the formal way a business is documented in the government, that does not mean it is an actual business. Having a lemonade stand with 1 employee is not a business, that's a personal services corporation. Why does this hold so many business owners back? Because you only have so many hours in the day. Imagine if Microsoft had 1 employee. Would it even work? Would it even be possible for something like Microsoft or Google to have 1 employee? No. Would these organizations be having impact on millions of people's lives if they only had 1 employee? No. So your level of impact is directly related to the amount of manpower that you have behind your vision. So we have to immediately divorce ourselves from the fact that our business is tied to our personal time input. And this gets like really wrapped up into identity and self-worth, because business owners and entrepreneurs, we put so much work and time and effort into our businesses. So it's natural to feel like our identity is tied up in our business. Well, over time, you actually start seeing a ton of businesses out there which basically have the last name of the owner of the business, comma, Inc. So you start seeing these names. You see it a lot in law firms, Joe Schmo and Associates. There's so many businesses out there that have a name in the business name, which is literally a sign of how skewed society's thinking is around business ownership. Your goal, my goal, a business owner's goal should be to detach themselves from the entity of their business and to stop treating it as a personal services corporation. Stop exchanging time for money. Start exchanging ideas and impact for money. What if you were paid for not the time you put into a specific thing, but you were paid for the impact you created on a specific thing? when I hired my first salesperson. I had to train that salesperson on how to provide value through our sales process. And there was a ton of learning lessons along the way. And eventually, that salesperson that I hired made their first sale. And it was like the most glorious day ever. Think about how amazing of a transformation that could be for someone whose only history in business was literally doing individual sales. Like, that is a transformation. Somebody else can make a sale without me. Somebody else can provide value through the sales process without me. As a executive, as a CEO, as a founder, as an entrepreneur, your decision-making capacity literally comes down to two things. How do you acquire clients and how do you deliver services to clients? Which is the next two items I'm going to break down as to why businesses fail. You don't know how to acquire clients at the right cost. If your only way of acquiring clients for your business is shaking hands and kissing babies, do you realize the cost of that? If you are the only lead generator for your business, that's the ultimate cost of all costs, time. You'll never get your time back. So the first way to reduce your cost of acquiring a client is to remove yourself from the client acquisition process. The first time I did this in my business, I launched a Google Ads campaign. The first day I launched the campaign, I got a call from someone. It was the first time I didn't have to put in time to receive a phone call. All I had to do was put in money to receive a phone call. So I spent a couple $100 on ads online to generate this inbound lead, and that lead went to my salesperson, right? And then the rest was history. So at that point, I realized, wow, not only do I not need to do the marketing, I also don't need to do the sales. And then it became a math equation. Now it comes down to, where am I investing money to acquire clients on the marketing side and the sales side? The ultimate reason, aside from having a personal services corporation that you call a business, the ultimate reason that businesses fail is this number two reason, is not being able to acquire clients at the right cost. But let's talk about the first half of that. Not being able to acquire clients. This is like way more important than the cost of acquiring a client. Because if you can't acquire clients in the first place, you're done. For a business to exist, what's the top line of a profit and loss statement? Revenue. If your business does not have revenue, another word for revenue is sales, you don't have a business. So your ability to sell is literally the minimum requirement of you having a business. So first of all, you have to become a client acquisition machine. You have to prioritize this as your number one mission. Until you have too many clients, you have too few clients. Your goal is to get to the point where your number one problem is too many clients, can't handle all this myself. That is the pinnacle point where businesses become real businesses. Acquiring clients at the right cost, that is the number two reason for business failures. The majority of businesses just can't do it. And if they can do it, it's all dependent on the owner. And that leads to business failure because the owner gets burnout. They feel the pressure of everything depending on them for acquiring clients. Average business nets $40,000 or $50,000 a year. You're better off having a job, going through all the pain of running a business and only making $40,000 or $50,000 a year net. It's insane. That's why I always respect people who understand how hard business ownership is and find their niche in the market and decide, I'm gonna collect my net income from an employer. That is actually the better route for the majority of human beings running businesses, just based on the small business statistics on the average amount of money that businesses make. Think about this. A $1 million business that profits 20% a year is profiting $200,000 a year. Do you realize how much harder it is to run a $1 million business that profits 200 grand a year? How much harder that is rather than just finding a job that'll pay you 200 grand a year? A lot of people have just wrapped up in their egos this need to be a business owner, but they're not doing the math. Do you realize the percent of businesses that do over $1 million a year? It's like less than 10% of all businesses. And combine that with the failure rate of businesses. Very unlikely. So the last of the three I want to go through, the ability of delivering a service to a client profitably and scalably. Let's say you sign up all these clients. Let's say you make the decision to have a business, not a personal services corporation. And then when you sign up clients, you lose money on every client, meaning you spend more money delivering the service to the client than you take in. Let's say number two, once you get these clients in, you can't produce service for them in a way that doesn't involve you, i.e. not scalably. What good does that do for you? You're trapping yourself. Let's say you signed up 10 clients last month, and the only person in your business who can serve those clients is you. You just trapped yourself with 10 new clients. That's not freedom. So the goal to solve this is to create a scalable, profitable way to deliver services to clients. There's been this whole movement around raise your prices, high ticket, sales and all that stuff. And I actually disagree. I don't think raising your prices is always the right solution. If raising your prices makes a company more dependent on you, then you shouldn't raise your prices. We want sweet spot pricing and sweet spot services. Sweet spot means not so expensive to where people are like, I need to work directly with the owner, but it's also not cheap enough to where you're not profitable. If you look at companies that do completely custom stuff for every client, very rare that those companies become big or successful or profitable. If every client that comes in is treated as this unique special object that everything needs to be customized for, it's more likely that that business will fail than a business that has packaged preset options that have operational scalability built in on the back end and profitability built in on the back end. If you can meet this, the scalable and profitable balance when it comes to delivering service for clients, and remove yourself from the entire process, you will be dramatically more likely to have a successful business. So those are the three biggest reasons that most businesses do not succeed, the reason that most businesses fail. And if you can learn to create a real business that does not involve your need for personal services providing, if you can find a scalable way to generate clients at the right cost and a scalable, profitable way to deliver service to clients after they become a client of yours, if you can solve all three of those things, there is no way your business is gonna fail. If you follow these three steps and avoid these three pitfalls, you will see yourself in a financial and a life position that you could never imagine. I hope you found this valuable. Leave a comment below on what part of the video stuck out to you the most, or a video that you want me to make in the future, and I'll see you in the next video. Stay great.